Today I will be speaking about my Mexican culture. This is a drawing I did to show about my culture. This is a girl with a typical Mexican dress, and usually the art is more vibrant, but I'm not experienced in that, so this is just an amateur drawing. This is something I did to show my class, but since the days were moved, I had to do this in video. Okay. There are thousands of cultures surrounding the world. America is called the melting pot because this place is where all those cultures came to be. There are many cultures here like Native Americans, Latinos, Asians, and so forth. Every culture is beautiful in their own way. But there is only one I personally identify with, and that is my Mexican culture. There's so much more about Mexico than just spicy food and loud music. There is art, there's fashion, there's customs, there is different types of architecture, and so on. The three main things that I would like to talk today about are the values of Mexican people, holidays, and the food. The United Mexican States have a long and harsh history, but I only have 6 to 8 minutes to deliver this, so I have to keep it short. The majority of Mexicans speak Spanish, although there are many other indigenous languages such as Maya, Huastec, Nahuatl, Tarastec, Totonaca, Otomi, Mazahua, and so on. There are about 60 indigenous languages, but Spanish is the official national language. According to Augusta University, with 329 million native speakers, Spanish ranks as number 2 in the world in terms of how many people speak it as their first language. It is slightly ahead of English, but behind Chinese that has 1.2 billion. Transitioning from one language to another is quite difficult, whether you need it for your school or for work. But family is always there to support you and your decisions. That is how bilinguals get to keep both languages. They speak English as their job, and they come home and they speak Spanish. In Mexican households, the family is the number one value. That's why we don't forget Spanish, because we have a whole community at home just waiting to hear about our day. Think of a big Mexican family as a hierarchy. The older you get, the more power or respect you get. At the very top of the chain are the grandparents. Then your parents, aunts, and uncles, and so forth. Your family molds the person you are, especially in a Mexican household. You can always change it up and change the route, but it's hard to do so. Usually the women do the cleaning, the raising, and the cooking, and the men work. Mexican households, till this day, are highly sexist. But family is family, and with family comes responsibilities, joys, and pains, and parties. Mexicans celebrate everything and anything. There's a vast number of celebrations that came from Mexican culture that you may know about. There are so many holidays such as Semana Santa, which is Easter week. There's Christmas, which includes Posadas, which is a 9-day celebration that begins December 16th. Dia de los Muertos is Day of the Dead, which occurs on November 1st. It has an ancient Aztec and Mesoamerican roots. This day is set aside and to honor the lives of the deceased while also celebrating the continuation of life. According to History.com, there's a celebration that I didn't know about. It's called Race Day. History.com says that it is celebrated on October 12th, and it's to recognize the mixed character of Mexico's indigenous and European population. When we have celebrations, we invite family and friends, neighbors, co-workers, anyone that we can have fun with. With parties, we come together as a unit, and a big part of having a good party is the food. Mexican cuisine varies widely between regions, as each town has its own culinary traditions. I always thought Mexican was original, but turns out I was wrong. Mexican food is actually a mixture of many other styles of cooking. When immigrants migrated to Mexico, they took their styles of cooking and adapted them to their own. According to MexFood.html, during the 19th century, Mexico experienced an influx of various immigrants, including French, German, and Italian, and so on. These people had a huge effect on what we now call Mexican food. During the French intervention in Mexico, French food became popular with the upper classes. One lasting evidence of this is the variety of breads and sweet breads such as bolillos, conchas, and more, which can be found in Mexican bakeries. The Germans brought beer brewing techniques, and the Chinese added their cuisine to certain areas of the country. This led to Mexico characterizing its cuisine more by its relation to popular traditions rather than on particular cooking techniques. This happens all the time. This is how we in America got what is called Tex-Mex food. It's not really Mexican, it's not really Texan food, it's just food that is easy to cook. No one really gives recognition to these immigrants that made what Mexican cuisine is today, which is really unfortunate. Mexican cuisine, like America, is also a melting pot. All three of these components sum up in a very short way what the Mexican culture is. Like I said before, there are many other aspects of this culture that I could not bring to you today, but the basic three components are family, holidays, and food. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.